Hello there, welcome to my new tutorial about inns and taverns in Dwarf Fortress. In this one I'm going to explain what a tavern is good for, how to set one up, and what to pay attention to before setting one up and the requirements. Alright, so first off, what's a tavern good for? Just like your other rooms, like guild halls and temples and dining halls, they provide service to the happiness of your dwarfs. The taverns provide drink and entertainment via music and socializing and dancing and those things. So that's the main use for your local dwarfs. The tavern also has the option to attach bedrooms to it, so it becomes a staging point for foreign guests, so they can rent a room. This might not earn you any money, but if you're interested in having some humans or other long-term guests in your fortress, that's the way to pull it off. Now, I'm going to talk about the setup now, and the further details will follow later when it's coming about what to take care of and what to prepare for. Alright, so meeting area is the thing we need. We draw one over the room, which is going to be our tavern. We accept that, press the plus sign, and announce it to be a new inn/tavern. Done. Alright, so now we have the tavern set up. As you can see here, this is the configuration screen, which shows us that we require goblets, instruments, tavern keeper, performers, and that we can rent rooms. So, first thing to do, we're going to set on up at least one chest, better two, so we can make sure that the drinking vessels are stored there. It's really important to offer goblets to your tavern. Just keep in mind that you don't necessarily have to craft goblets. The goblets are here in this regard a category, and as you see here, mugs are also listed as goblets, so you can use them as well. When that is done, your people have their containers to drink out of inside. Stored instruments will come on in there once you have some. The next important thing is you need to put up a stockpile with drinks inside, because otherwise your dwarves will not have anything to drink. So you set up a stockpile zone inside there. You get on over into the food category, assign drinks made out of plants, preferably. If you have any other source, put that up too. And then the next thing is I hook that up to my local drink production stockpile, so the tavern's stockpile will always be refilled from up there, because this is the easiest way to make sure that we always will have drinks inside there. So now the basics of the tavern are set up. We don't have assigned a tavern keeper or a performer yet. Just want to talk about the fact that without these people, your tavern will still be used. Your dwarfs will get on in there, as you can see, and they're socializing, they're listening to stories, they're doing their thing, just like you'd expect it to. So you don't necessarily have to bring up these people there, but it definitely helps if you want to utilize the tavern to its fullest. So, next thing, we're going to talk about the setup of the guest rooms before we go into more details about the tavern. So, guest rooms, we need to build bedrooms first, because no bedroom, no guest room. And that requires beds and doors, of course. So, once these are set up, we can configure them. As you see here now, there's quite the interest there. So your dwarves are dancing and jolly good mood there. It's really important for your dudes. And we have some tavern music going on in the background. And this is already everything running as you'd wanted inside your tavern. So, attaching the bedroom, you say here, this is your bedroom, and then instead of allocating it to a certain dwarf, you're allocating it to the tavern by pressing the plus sign, scrolling down to the tavern. So we got the mouth of cities there, and now this is linked to the tavern. As you can see there, when you go into the tavern, here, rented rooms 0 of 1. That means that this room is now part of the tavern. and will not be just used by your dwarfs as a custom room to hang on out. Because if you don't allocate them like that, your dwarfs will just get on in there, and your guests won't consider them as a option to crash in. So there we go. Just to show it to you twice. Here, everything working on out as intended. So this is the light version of your tavern. You can now also bring in a tavern keeper and performers. Well, first let's talk about performers. Performers are really optional as far as every information that I've found. Your dwarves will get there and make music either way. I have found no information that performers bring you any benefit whatsoever, so you don't really need to assign them, as far as I know. Feel free to let me know what you know in the comment section. The Tavern Keeper, though, is way more important. The Tavern Keeper will serve drinks to your dwarfs. So the thing is, if you don't assign a Tavern Keeper, your dwarfs will just grab their drinks and drink inside there. If you have a Tavern Keeper, though, the Tavern Keeper will bring drinks to the dwarfs there. The performers will do the same job, by the way, too. The thing here is about the Tavern Keeper now that the Tavern Keeper loves to pour a drink too much. So what happens once you have a Tavern Keeper running, your dwarfs will drink too much, or your foreign guests will drink too much. And that leads to one thing in the long run: violence. So, long story short, and we are already braving into the third part of this video, the hidden requirements and risks. If you don't want any unnecessary tavern brawls, just leave the tavern without a tavern keeper. This is the Tavern Light, and this setup has really worked out quite nicely for me. And therefore, if you want to hinder some unnecessary violence, this was a good way for me to go. But if you have a tavern keeper running, just keep in mind you should have a functional hospital somewhere where your wounded can get towards to, and that's really important to note. So, a few last things about taverns now. So, when your tavern is being frequented by other people from outside the fortress, your dwarves will drink with them and they will talk about things. And not only will your fortress earn knowledge about the outside world will also attain knowledge about your fortress, including information about your artifacts or other important, valuable things. Long story short, this attracts attackers in the long run. If that bothers you, you can always forbid the tavern from being frequented from outsiders. If you put it like that, it's only open to citizens. So this way you can shut that problematic off. So if you don't want any violence, you unassign the tavern keeper. But to get the full experience out of your tavern, so to say, it comes with a tavern keeper. It's open for everybody, and this way you can get some nice information about the outside world. But my personal recommendation is to set up a tavern really quickly in your fortress, because you can really get some nice cheap mood benefits out of it. Just make sure that you don't attract outside people and you don't put a tavern keeper in there, and the worst problems that a tavern can produce are already averted. And besides that, there's not that much to say besides to make your tavern as beautiful as possible, because that does matter to your dwarfs again. If it's a beautiful environment, your dwarfs are happier to hang out there, creating just one extra happy thought. And the other thing regarding happiness, again, the taverns are also a pretty nice room to provide mist generators and stuff that provides falling water in any way, because the more happiness you can cram into that room, the better. But all in all, that's not much. I don't have that much more to say about your taverns in general. There's yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you have no more questions left over. If there are any further questions left over, feel free to frequent the comment section. If you have any great things to add on into this, which I have missed out, feel free to add that into the comment section, of course, as well. And a thumbs up and a subscription would be deeply appreciated. I do daily content, and if you like that one, chances are you like the rest of my stuff as well. So, thanks for watching. Check out the description box leading to an entire playlist with further Dwarf Fortress tutorials, and have a wonderful day, and I hope to check you guys will check out the next video as well. See you there and have a wonderful day.